This is the second of my inspections into Tucker's 11. Today I'm going to continue going through this remnant area here, but I've had to come in from Bat Trail because Timboon Road is closed. I am fully inside the plantation area, and I just thought I'd start with a nice example at 5.45 metres of the kind of original forest that is inside our plantation areas and the significance of these as natural habitat trees. And this giant blackbutt is not the only one. Just behind it is a nice blue gum as well. Just for continuity from episode 1, I'm at the bottom of the subunit that I visited in my first tour. Here you can see the original forest in here, and here is this grove, quite substantial. There's at least a dozen or so original forest oaks. This is in the area's own plantation. This is actually very pretty. I've just crossed over into the new subunit that I'm going to look at today. I'm in this little patch here. You can see from the canopy that there's original forest, but it's still zone delayed thinning. There are no plantation trees here. It's a continuation of that nice forest oak patch. I've come a little further down now. Here I am. Here it is in the 1990s. But as I indicated yesterday, there has been some clearing through here. Some thinning at some stage. I don't know if it was part of a native forest operation or thinning. But there are surviving original trees in here. I'm in a little micro pocket of rainforest. There's a forest oak, there's a jackwood, and then there's an alphatonia, a red ash. So this is a micro remnant in here. I'm just going to head now into this area. I've put my coordinates here because in this area there are 1 or 2 original canopies, but it's probably been interplanted, so identifying those means I will probably have to go right on top to see whether there's anything left. So this is a good example of this. Here is a patch of forest inside the plantation area. You can see it's a different colour, doesn't have the regular rows. And here is the base of that tree, but it's a double crowner. So it may have been damaged in the 1990s or left in the 1990s. But for forestry, this just counts as a resprout, and this is in real danger of being cut. This is day 2 of my second inspection of this plantation subunit. I'm, as you can see, in this area here. This area is largely dominated by pink bloodwood. There's more behind me here and through here. So I've got fairly good line of sight to the satellite here. Looks like this area here has seen some thinning, but there's still some surviving original trees. This is an alphatonia. So I'm a little bit further along now, and I'm in a patch of surviving rainforest inside the plantation. I'm a little bit further along again. Here's a nice original grandis, 2.75 meters, and again it's situated on the edge of the rainforest. There's a really nice red ash over there, jackwood, very pretty. This is day 3 of my inspection of the second plantation subunit in compartment 11. And for continuity's sake, I'm back at the site of the last record. I've gone a little bit further into the remnant, and you can see just how much rainforest there is in here, including this really beautiful jackwood. And I'm going to walk back to the last, I contend, native flooded gum. This is that Alphitonia I filmed, red ash, and I'm excited because on the edge of the remnant, small but nevertheless here, is a ringwood endemic only to the Bellinger, Nambucca and Kalang River valleys, the aniseed myrtle, a beautiful tree. And there is that flooded gum. I'm a little bit further along again, and our cockatoo friends are still having a bit of a moan about my presence. Sorry, mate. But I am basically on the very edge of the plantation. I'm still in the plantation, but this is all rainforest through here. No plantation trees. We don't see a plantation tree until I'm several meters away from my devices. There's one, but all of this in front of me is all rainforest. I'm continuing in that rainforest. I'm quite excited because there's a lot of rainforest, there's a lot of original trees. The canopies are still here. I'm not saying there hasn't been some disturbance in here, but that's clearly a canopy. And unfortunately my blue dot is over that same canopy. See if I can make it slightly bigger. Here is a lighter green in that photography. In this one it is a darker green, and that differentiating green is another one of those red ashes, but behind it is probably another cheese tree, and I am again in rainforest. Very nice. I'm continuing in that rainforest. I'm quite excited because there's a lot of rainforest, there's a lot of original trees. The canopies are still here. Is probably another cheese tree, and I am again in rainforest. Very nice. I'm continuing in that rainforest. I'm quite excited because there's a lot of rainforest, there's a lot of original trees. The canopies are still here. I'm not saying there hasn't been some disturbance in here, but that's clearly a canopy. And unfortunately my blue dot is over that same canopy. See if I can make it slightly bigger. Here is a lighter green in that photography. In this one it is a darker green, and that differentiating green is another one of those red ashes, but behind it is probably another cheese tree, and I am again in rainforest. Very nice. This is still relatively intact all through here. I'm again underneath a large alphitonia or red ash. This one is 2.3 meters in the round, and just next to it is another one, and I'm basically again in a pocket of rainforest understory with some plantation inplantings. But this is still part of the remnant, and it's still relatively intact. This is the fourth day, I think, of my second inspection of this particular plantation subunit in Tucker's 11. I've walked from here through to here. We'll go to the 90s photography, the imagery. What I suspect has happened through here is that there has been some native forest operations outside the plantation area in a previous period that has cleared and disturbed this area. This area is not really plantation. These two patches definitely are. In here, you can't really classify it plantation. There are some plantation trees, but it's really a bit of a mess. So it's really a margin call. What forestry will probably do here is just simply alienate all the remaining native vegetation, get rid of it, and because it's inside the plantation unit, call it plantation, but it's not really plantation. And then when you get up to this corner, I'm up here, and here is a really nice tree, probably a grandis. It's over 3.5 meters in the round. Not a plantation tree. And this is the canopy vegetation that is visible on the map in here and up in here. And I'm now going to go around here and see what this is. It may be lantana, it may be something else. I've now walked in through here, and this is definitely not plantation. It's essentially the edge of the plantation from where the logging previously pushed up a lot of the debris. That's not a plantation tree, it's a wildling, whether it's naturally seeded or from a planted tree, I can't say, but basically all in through here is recovering bush, largely rainforest, alphitonia, cheese trees, palms, that sort of thing. It's more visible here. This is the plantation area that I delineated from the historical aerial photography from the 1990s. You can see the rows. And this is smaller canopy than that large tree I recorded. Here's a gap I'm actually in. I don't know, it may have been a log dump or something similar. But again, you can see the hole, the gap, but all on the edge here. This is all non-plantation forest. This is the kind of stuff that gets bulldozed and then sent to be burnt for so-called green electricity up at Broadwater. But this is all recovering rainforest, and if this were to be removed, it would be rainforest logging, which of course doesn't happen in New South Wales. And I've just finished the circuit, been taking a record somewhere down here, come up through here, been in through here, took that large tree record here, went in here, I've come back, and I'm fairly happy to delineate this area as remnant. It's pretty disturbed, but this is an original Alphitonia, and behind it more Alphitonia, more coachwood. This is rainforest. So I think this is day 5 of my reconnaissance into this second plantation subunit in Tucker's 11. I'm inside this little remnant here. This line delineates the edge of the streamside reserve. So where I am standing is not in the streamside reserve, it's inside the plantation, and here is a flooded gum of over 3 metres in the round, undoubtedly original and part of a really nice little pocket inside the so-called plantation. So I've switched to the most recent imagery that I have. We've moved from in here to that larger remnant over here, and here you can see the canopy of that large tree that we measured, but because of the angle of the photograph, the canopy may be in the streamside reserve, but the trunk itself was inside here, and there are 2 or 3 largish canopy native trees in here, mostly Alphitonia and Acacia. Ditto here, we're at an acacia that's a little bit over 1.8 metres in the round. This is just considered trash and is cut, but this is a sizable tree here. So unfortunately, whatever was here and here has probably been logged out in a native forest operation. This is a clearing inside this area. But you never know. Let's see. So this one is a survivor. This is a jackwood. It's over 2.5 metres in the round. It's also making me think I may need to reappraise this remnant boundary here. So I've come down a little bit further here to this green area. Here it is on the 6 maps imagery. There is a little cluster of 2 large grandis, larger than any of the other plantation trees around, and it's just a little pocket, a micro remnant of rainforest around it. So I have to say that with the exception of 1 or 2 trees, the records of which we will take, this area has been pretty comprehensively cleared out, but there is just the evidence of the original forest here. This is a jackwood. It's almost 1.5 in the round, and just next to it is a small little native tamarind, but we'll have to go through this area fairly thoroughly to find and reconfigure this polygon. I think most of it has gone. I think this is day 6 in the second inspection of this plantation subunit. This is the last remnant. It's on the edge of the disturbed area that we looked at yesterday. Here in the historical photography from the 90s, you can see where the plantation ends. We had a look up here yesterday. Here you can see the rows. Here there are no rows. And here is an original tree from before the time of the plantation at over 3 meters. This is significantly larger than the rest of the grandis or flooded gum around here. So sadly, this is another area of hollowed out original forest, but there are still some surviving larger canopy trees, and this one is a classic example. I had to take a reading of diameter at breast height for this one. This is 2.65 meters. That's a large tree. This is a very healthy red ash. This is a rainforest tree, a colonizing tree, but this tree was part of a functioning rainforest way before the establishment of this plantation. So the ethical dilemma that confronts forestry is, will it take responsibility for the environmental damage of the past, and will it retain these areas that were damaged? This area should not be cut.